ओके, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। ये हमारा स्टैटिक कोडिंग एनालिसिस टूल्स एंड टेक्निक्स का सेशन। इसमें कुछ टॉपिक्स हम ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं लास्ट सेशन में, जो कि सेशन 1 था। अब हमें जो है वो नेक्स्ट तरफ जाना है, जिनका तल्लुक पाथ टेस्टिंग से है। So path testing is a white box test design technique in which test cases are designed to execute various paths between the code. So there are also some definitions which are in this context related and linked. A path through the software is a sequence of instructions or statements that start at an entry, junction, or decision and end at another, or possibly the same, and finally exit. So path is primarily a subset of code जो कि एक सीक्वेंस में एग्जीक्यूट होता है. A path may go through several junctions, processes, or decisions one or more time. There are many path testing techniques, but two are more famous and discussed by the textbook. One is path testing via control flow graphs, and another is path testing via cyclomatic complexity. So Boris and Thomas are two famous writers जिन्होंने इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में काफ़ी वर्क किया है. और टेक्स्ट बुक जो है वो many times refer to the work of these two writers. So the first uh, जो पाथ टेस्टिंग है दैट इज वाया कंट्रोल फ्लो ग्राफ्स. और पहले सेशन में हमने कंट्रोल फ्लो ग्राफ्स जो है उनको देखा था और उनके बारे में कुछ जाना था. So this is a visual interpretation of paths, and there are few general rules. One is many simple paths are better than fewer complicated paths, and there is no conceptual problem executing same code more than once. So that means paths can overlap. ये एक एग्जाम्पल कोड जो है ये दिया है किताब ने, जिसमें वो किसी भी स्ट्रिंग में चेक करता है कि जो इनपुट है वो हेक्साडेसिमल नंबर है या नहीं है. क्लासीफाई एंड काउंट द इनपुट कैरेक्टर्स एज हेक्साडेसिमल. तो इस कोड में स्विच केस स्टेटमेंट यूज हुई है और इस कोड का नाम है हेक्साडेसिमल कन्वर्टर कोड फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर कंट्रोल. So this is some slides are on the description of this uh, yes, more test cases, but these files are essential to provide the control flow graph based testing for the cyclomatic complexity, which is also a structure based testing and also takes some visual uh, based on some visual graphs. It primarily the theory states there is a basis path and there is a set of basis paths, and it provides definition of these paths. For example, basis path. What is basis path? Any software module has a small number of unique elements. So we exclude iterations called the basis paths. Structure of code can be tested by executing through the small number of paths, and a different path actually consists of simply reusing the basis paths. So we can reuse the basis paths to make it more paths or more complex. So another uh, definition is basis path set. which is based on the basis path, a set of all basis paths which provide the complete path coverage. So every statement is covered, or whole the structure of the code is covered through the basis paths. So basis path set is the smallest number of basis paths that cover the structure of the code. Theory states that creating a set of tests that covers these basis paths will guarantee us both statement and decision coverage of tests. Basis path also called the minimal path. Now, what is cyclomatic complexity? Cyclomatic complexity is a number, and that number actually means how many minimum number of paths which are required to attain the full coverage. The term cyclomatic is used to refer to an imaginary loop from the end of a module of code back to the beginning of it. How many times would we need to cycle through the outside loop until the structure of the code has been completely covered? And that number is given through the cyclomatic complexity number. It gives the number of loops needed and the number of test cases we needed to cover the set of basis paths. इसमें तरीके हैं और इसको मेजर करने के डिफरेंट तरीके हैं और टूल्स हैं, लेकिन इसमें जो कंसेप्ट यूज होते हैं वो ये है कि वंस वी हैव द विजुअल रिप्रेजेंटेशन, इन द विजुअल रिप्रेजेंटेशन वी हैव द नोड्स and we have the edges. The nodes are the circles, small circles are the bubbles, and similarly edges are the arrows. And there are some rules, and that if we have the code have the code structure is complex structure, then there is the test cases, the number of test cases to consider are more. Code we can see there are one, two, three, and four. Three if statements and one while. So 3 plus 1, 4, and again, formula or simple method to instead of calculating. So there should be five basis paths or five test cases to test this code. So these are the five test cases which are written for the integer numbers which are input, and we get the output results, and the basis paths are also highlighted. If we can see A, B, F, this is one path A, B, and F. It leads directly to the exit. Similarly, A, B, C, and F. A, B, C, and F. Then we have A, B, C, D, E, and F. And similarly, because there is a condition statement which should be false and true, so there is again A, B, C, D, E, F. One for true case and one for false case, so that it can traverse. And similarly, there is one more in which this loop is also, while loop is also executed. A, B, C, D, E, and then again E, and then F. And then these are the test cases which are selected based on these paths, so that the code which appear on these paths are also executed while testing this code. So this slide is very important because it primarily converges the cyclomatic complexity part. So this is the control flow graph of the heads. Some more examples. इससे पहले हम एक और एग्जांपल की बात इस एग्जांपल की बात कर लेते हैं. So this end we end our session here, uh, and the rest of the slides will be covered in end. other session.